We love you. Thank you for being here. At this time, I'd like to invite you to kindly stand for the playing of the national anthem. Thank you. Please be seated. May I admit that every time I hear the national anthem, I get warm and tingly. There is a sense of pride. And then I unapologetically say that it is the most beautiful anthem in the entire world. Can I say that? Is it okay? So why am I not getting the energy that we feel the same way? I'm just saying. The Honorable Juliet Cuthbert Flynn, Minister of State, Ministry of National Security, representing the Honorable Dr. Horace Chang, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, Ambassador Sheila Seeley Monteith, Permanent Secretary, Head of the Jamaican Foreign Service, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, the Honorable Mrs. Justice Lisa Palmer Hamilton, Judge of the Supreme Court, Mrs. Diane Gordon Harrison, Children's Advocate and National Rapporteur on Trafficking in Persons, Ms. Claudette Thompson, Acting Director of Public Prosecutions, Deputy Anthony McLaughlin, representing the Commissioner of Police, Dr. Kevin Blake, Ms. Sandra Maynard, Pro-Vice Chancellor for Global Affairs, Yui Mona, representatives from various ministries, departments, agencies, offices of international organizations, NGOs. I see my good friend Joy from E4Life, good to see you. Other civil society organizations, distinguished ladies and gentlemen of other human trafficking organizations, colleagues and friends of the media all, good morning. Thank you so very much. The Office of the National Rapporteur on Trafficking in Persons welcome you to this very important initiative because we are action-based, and whenever you interact with this particular group and entity, you realize that we identify the gaps and we try to figure out what kind of solutions we can put in. So why are we here? It is the Kingston launch of Jamaica's digital anti-human trafficking course entitled Heightening Awareness to Combat Human Trafficking in Jamaica. It's an online course. Now, I have good news and I have bad news. Which one do you want to hear first? We ever want to hear the bad news first? Poor Dan is like, what is Terry doing? What kind of bad news? Nobody told me about this. The bad news is that we have to convene for a topic such as this. The bad news is that we have to get together and bring all of these different entities together to speak about the harsh reality that is taking place, not just globally, but in Jamaica. We wish we could have just gotten together, still drink some sorrel, still eat some fruit cake, and just say, Happy New Year, we wish you all the best. The bad news is that this is a harsh reality. So this is where you ask, what is the? So the good news is that it is important that we identify these issues and we don't sit down and whine and complain and say such is life, but that we ask ourselves, what can we do to make things better? I can say that I think in, maybe it was 2019, I had the opportunity of hosting something similar to this. It was not the launch of a course, but it was DCP Fitzbailey who was the keynote speaker. And I realized how much I did not know about human trafficking. And for many of us, if you work in that space, It comes like common knowledge to you. But there is a huge number of Jamaicans literally in Jamaica who hear about human trafficking. We see it on TV. We think it's some action blockbuster movie. But we actually remove ourselves and our country because that don't have nothing to do with Jamaica. What is human trafficking? And it was in that speech, that delivery by DCP Bailey, that we were even learning about the different kinds of human trafficking and how pervasive it is, and that anybody can fall for it and anybody can be a victim. And it was that information that opened up and heightened my awareness. And so I was able to go back to my communities and say, hey, you have to be a little bit alert. If you have older children going to summer jobs, you need to have them ask right questions, find out if these are legitimate. And so when it comes to heightening awareness, it is something that we cannot take for granted, and we cannot underestimate. Some of the most intelligent and educated people still do not know what the dangers are, and they do not know what to suspect or who to be suspicious of, and what are the next steps. And so here it is. We are here because this is yet another tool that we're going to introduce that allows anyone who is interested to have access to figuring out, how can I be a part of solving this issue in Jamaica? Sounds good? Are you interested? Are you excited? I am as well. For those of you who do not know me, I am Terry Carell. It is a pleasure to serve you in the capacity of host this morning. So I kind of just gave you a brief overview, just the fact that I'm excited to be here because I want to know how I can help my community. But the person who really has the task of doing the welcome and the opening remarks is this lovely lady who is one of the hardest working women in the world, Mrs. Diane Gordon Harrison, National Rapporteur on Trafficking in Persons. Please welcome her.
Good morning, everyone. I am not one for repetition, but I am a stickler for protocol, so please bear with me as I acknowledge the very important and distinguished persons in our midst. And I'll start with the Honorable Juliet Cuthbert Flynn, Member of Parliament, Minister of State in the Ministry of National Security, here in her own right, and also representing our distinguished Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, the Honorable Dr. Horace Chang, Ambassador Sheila Sealy-Monteith, Permanent Secretary and Head of the Jamaican Foreign Service, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, the Honorable Mrs. Justice Lisa Palmer Hamilton, Puisne Judge of the Supreme Court, Ms. Claudette Thompson, Acting Director of Public Prosecutions, Deputy Commissioner of Police, Anthony McLaughlin, representing the Commissioner of Police, Dr. Kevin Blake, Mr. David Dobson, Chief Technical Director in the Ministry of Tourism, Ms. Sandra Maynard, Pro-Vice Chancellor for Global Affairs, UWIMONA, Detective Inspector, how could I? And this is where I get myself in problems because I always refer to her as my namesake because she is in fact Detective Inspector Gordon, head of the ATIP Vice Squad in the Jamaica Constabulary Force, members of the National Task Force on Trafficking, stakeholders, partners from the various ministries, departments, and agencies, embassies, high commissions, NGOs, members of civil society organizations, members of the media, colleagues, friends, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all, a very warm and pleasant good morning to all of you. Good morning. Now, this morning is another milestone in the work of the Office of the National Rapporteur on Trafficking in Persons. The program indicates that I should be doing a welcome, and I want to extend to you all a very warm welcome, but not just an empty one that recognizes the value of partnership, one that appreciates the fact that you are here because we think this signifies your importance in the fight against human trafficking, and certainly the commitment that you collectively demonstrate in your operational lives and certainly your professional lives. So thank you so much for coming to be a part of this continued journey that the Office of the National Rapporteur continues to be on. Now, there is the very famous saying that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with but one step. This is another step that we're taking to really shed some light on what human trafficking is, not just globally and that distant concept that Dr. Terry Carell Johnson, or compare extraordinaire, mentioned, but one that really plants it front and center within the context of the Jamaican reality. I continue to say that the biggest threat that Jamaica faces in the anti-human trafficking fight is that absence of knowledge, that absence of recognition that human trafficking is not a foreign thing, but it is in fact a Jamaican thing, and it affects Jamaicans both in our country and outside of our country. So this particular launch is really geared towards building the awareness and sensitizing Jamaicans of all walks of life that this thing is real, but more importantly, what it looks like within the Jamaican context. So you will have an opportunity to go through the course today. Don't be alarmed, it's not that long, and it will not have you here ad infinitum. But certainly as you go through the course, you will recognize that it is very Jamaican. It talks about those situations that we see in our communities, those situations that we hear about in our neighborhoods, and those situations that sometimes we see every day and have no idea that this is human trafficking hidden in plain sight before our very eyes. Very importantly as well is it tells us what to do if we see these situations that are very much a part of our culture sometimes unfolding. And it also, at the end of the day, if you persevere to the end of the course, certifies you as someone who has completed and who is to be recognized now as a doctored stalwart, if you will, in the anti-human trafficking fight. So I really want to see this as a preventative mechanism that we're sharing with you, and we ask that you not only absorb the knowledge here today, but that you share the knowledge with your various networks and help to build the capacity of all Jamaicans so that they too can recognize this threat that walks among us, that breathes among us, and know how to combat it in their own way without being a martyr, without compromising their security, but being that very able assistant, because knowledge is power, and the awareness that they have will help to build the preventative network within our Jamaican society. So I encourage you to drink up, listen up, and really imbibe all that we have to share. It's going to be an interactive session, and you'll see we have a surprise for all of you. I think when we get to that bit that speaks about the preview and the interaction with the tool. So I hope you're all ready, because we love surprises and we like to involve and incorporate our audiences. And I know that you're all up to the task, so I look forward to that part particularly. But more importantly, I look forward to the long-standing and deepening partnerships and collaborations that we will continue to build on so that we can build up the rubric of protection for persons who are vulnerable in Jamaica, who are already victims of trafficking, and who may fall prey to this scourge. We have to remember in the global context that human trafficking continues to be one of the most aggressive forms of organized crime in the world. When we look at the statistics, I think the last dollar figure indicated that it is one that amasses over $150 billion US in terms of the profits that traffickers really live off and continue to exploit people to, enrich themselves. And then we have to remember that people, at the essence of it, really have dignity. And if we're violating and compromising the very essence of humanity, it means that we're doing a very grave disservice to our fellow men and women. So in that spirit, I ask that you absorb the course, as I said, and now recognize yourself as living up to one of the 3 Ps. We talk about protection, prosecution, and prevention. Well, this is the prevention P in living color, and we are incorporating you as our partners, as our allies, and as our collaborators as we continue to build Jamaica's anti-human trafficking framework. So welcome, thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to participating with all of you, not just today, but as we continue this journey. Thank you.
That was just so well said, well articulated. I could sit there, after a while I forgot that I actually have a job to do and I have to continue the program. But to be able to really pull that all together. She spoke about the P's, but I walked away with C's. Collaboration, collectivity, commitment, community. I don't think any of this would be possible if we're not applying these things. My grandmother always spoke about the village raising us, the village looking out. And unfortunately, our society, and even the global, within the global context, we become so individualistic that if it's not my problem, and if it's not knocking on my door, it's over there. And I think what we don't realize, especially when we speak about human trafficking, as was mentioned, is that it's happening right next door. It's actually right at your doorstep. And if you keep on having the attitude of this is not my problem, then you will find out the very hard way. When we heard about the money that is involved, you understand why these organizers are extremely aggressive. Who wants to give up 150 billion US dollars? And so if they are aggressively trying to make sure that the system stays in place, we as community, collectively, we now have to be just as aggressive or even more aggressive to make sure that we dismantle it. So thank you very much for that warm welcome as well as the overview. And again, please don't be stingy with this information. We already know the information. It is now to empower and arm other people with the tools. So now that we've heard from Mrs. Diane Gordon Harrison, we would love to hear now from the Minister of State, Ministry of National Security, the Honorable Juliet Cuthbert Flynn. Let us welcome her. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Moderator. One of my favorite person to really listen to. And I have to say that you spoke at an event before Christmas, and it stuck with me because I didn't know so many things about you. I watch you, and you are, you need to tell your story more often. I think it resonated with me, and I think your story will definitely resonate with more Jamaicans. Looking at you now, where you are, I think it will actually help a lot of people. With that said, it is really a pleasure to be here this morning for many different reasons. It's the start of a new year, and it's really good. This is like my first assignment. I got some rest. I had to get some rest, but this is my first assignment, and what a way to really start. You gave a great overview of what this today is all about, and I think it's really important that Jamaicans understand where we are with human trafficking and what it is that we're doing to prevent human trafficking. I'm here in my capacity and also on behalf of my Minister, Dr. the Honorable Horace Chang. Let me say a warm welcome to Ambassador Sheila Seeley Monteith, Permanent Secretary, Head of the Jamaica Foreign Service in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, the Honorable Justice Lisa Hamilton, Judge of the Supreme Court, and of course, Mrs. Diane Gordon Harrison, Children's Advocate and National Rapporteur on Trafficking in Persons. I don't see Mr. Denson Thorpe, I don't know if he is yet here. Ms. Claudette Thompson, Acting Director of Public Prosecutions. Chief Technical Director, Mr. David Dobson in the Ministry of Tourism. Ms. Kishan Kade, I don't think she's here. Ms. Sandria Maynard, Pro Vice Chancellor for Global Affairs at UEMONA, Head of the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Vice Squad, Detective Inspector Kimisha Gordon, Senior Superintendent Dr. Anthony McLaughlin, Head of CTOC, and let me apologize for the Chief Technical Director at the Ministry of National Security, Mr. Michael Morgan. He sends his apologies. He had an emergency that he just could not get out of. Let me also say good morning to the various representatives from the ministries and departments and agencies and offices, international organizations, NGOs, civil society organization, distinguished guests, and other human trafficking organization. And I know that today, whatever it is that you grasp today, that you will take that back into the wider Jamaican society to let people be more aware. And so with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, today's activities is quite significant, a quite significant milestone for the Office of the National Rapporteur on Trafficking in Persons. I want to extend, as Minister would say, I want to extend commendations to our National Rapporteur, Ms. Diane Gordon Harrison, hardworking, and her team for their continuous hard work and dedication in employing tactical strategies to combat human trafficking. We're very proud to note that Jamaica is the first country in the Caribbean to establish the Office of the National Rapporteur on Trafficking in Persons. The Human Trafficking E-Learning tool was strategically designed to build the capacities of our anti-trafficking stakeholders, particularly those in high-risk areas. With a tool like this, individuals are able to gain access to free and relevant knowledge about human trafficking and will be certified at the end of the course. Minister wants to extend gratitude to our partners for developing this online course to raise awareness among first responders, you, frontline personnel, and the wider people of Jamaica. Through this course, participants will be able to gain practical and valuable knowledge on how to identify indicators of human trafficking, how to recognize the potential victims, and access resources to support the survivors. We're not just informing and educating our stakeholders, but the wider public will be able to benefit from this course, and he believes that it is vital for the public to have a better understanding of human trafficking and the nuances surrounding this phenomenon. Every Jamaican should be able to identify human trafficking to not only avoid being trafficked, but to identify others who may be trafficked so that it can be reported to the authorities. Recent alarming statistics indicate that the main perpetrators of child trafficking in Jamaica, who you think? Parents and guardians. It is important, therefore, to sensitize and train all relevant officials and others in strategies to curb this crime. When we spread awareness by providing the relevant information, we are able to prevent individuals from falling victim of being trafficked. It can happen in any community, and victims can be of any age, race, gender, nationality. And so, ladies and gentlemen, prevention, as was said by Ms. Diane Gordon, is a key pillar to combat human trafficking. Prevention is defined as an activity that is geared towards stopping trafficking in persons from happening, and therefore includes preventing non-victims from victimization and trafficked persons from re-victimization. With this online course, we will be able to reach a wider demographic and to enhance their knowledge capacities on the heinous activity with just a click of a button. And so the Ministry of National Security has been working tirelessly to combat human trafficking. We have seen a significant strides in preventing trafficking, protecting victims, and prosecuting offenders. And I want to reassure you that we're committed to further tackling elements like this that pose a threat to the people of Jamaica. We will not relent in the fight against crime in all forms. We want to also recognize that human trafficking is a complex issue that requires a multifaceted approach, and therefore together we can make a difference. And so let us join forces to combat human trafficking, to protect our citizens and build a safer, more just society for all Jamaicans. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so very much, Minister, and thank you for the complimentary remarks earlier. I absolutely appreciate it very much, and I will continue to do so. Listening to the Minister, these were my biggest takeaway, and I was extremely happy that she reminded us that Jamaica was the first. I think it's always important because sometimes harsh realities make us forget the good things that we have done or the good things that are being continued. But Jamaica really and truly has always been a global leader in the face of injustice and crimes against humanity. Jamaica has always been that little country who has always had this very big voice. And that reminder is that we are to continue to be reminded that that is who we are, and we're to continue to do so. Another thing that came to mind when you spoke about the age of victims is that your children are not too old to also understand what human trafficking is. I'm going to repeat that one more time. For those of us who are parents in the room, we have children and we just assume because they're small and they're young, they just won't understand. I started the moment, I think we did the event in 2019, I think it was. I went and I told my daughter, and I think she would have been 6 at the time. And so now that she is 12, she actually knows what human trafficking is. She knows how to be alert and aware, even things like, hey, when we're going to the car, when we're walking out of public spaces, look around. Even when it came to being in spaces that we're browsing or we want to purchase, be very vigilant. If somebody, every time you see them, that person is just there. We assume that because they are young, that they don't know any better. And I want to tell you that not only are they victims most times, they can be the greatest sources of information when it comes to help. And so for those of you who might be thinking, maybe I'll wait until they're 18, that might be way too late. And so as a parent, I can tell you, start having the conversation. If you're not a parent, you could be a godmommy, goddaddy, you're an uncle, you're an aunt, you have authority and access, and ask questions. Or ask the questions. Don't be too busy to ask about the day and what's going on and who is that and where him come from and where him look like and she, who is she? The teacher, too friendly? What them say? Be very inquisitive, because when you allow space to get bigger between you and a child, it allows perpetrators and actors to occupy that very space that you are allowing. And that is probably something that I took away again because you are heightening our awareness, and I really want to thank you. Why is this course important? Because when it comes to human trafficking, the actors are using digital platforms, yes? Social media. They're using websites. They're using all of the technology to make sure they can lure people in. And therefore, it makes sense that we're using the very same platforms and tools to empower. So when we come back from the entertainment, we're going to have the interaction. So we hear the courses here. Now we want to get a good look and feel of it. So just to break, just to give you an idea, and so that you can look in your package and start looking at what this website is, I'm going to invite this fantastic young man who is going to be our musical interlude. I have seen him perform 3 times now, and I think 3rd time is the charm. A gentleman, a musicianist, a saxophonist with about 10 lungs. We welcome Daniel John Jackson.
Thank you.
Ooh, those were the perfect songs. The harder they come, what will happen to them? The harder they fall. And then we had I Can. Thank you so very much. Good to see you. All the best. You and your 10 lungs, we appreciate it. So I hope that you took the opportunity to go through the package, and that's one thing I think the ONRTIP does very well. Whenever you come to the events, they actually give you even more than you need. Sometimes they say, hey, take something for someone else. But no, we don't want to just talk about it. We want to actually show you and for all of us to get a really good idea of how this course could help. So I'm going to re-invite Mrs. Gordon-Harrison just to kind of give us an overview, and then we will make this as interactive as possible.
Thank you very much, Terry. So this is the fun part. And this is the part where we tell you a little bit about the course before we actually dig into it. So first of all, we developed some years ago in partnership with the British High Commission a digital e-learning tool, which is on a thumb drive, right? And so we started giving those out, and persons were using them, and stakeholders knew about them. But then we said, how can we broaden access? How can we ensure that anybody at all who doesn't have access to the office or anyone who works there can get this information, and most importantly, can self-test so that it builds their confidence in terms of their anti-human trafficking understanding? And so another partnership was born, and we collaborated and created this online access that is completely free, completely open to anyone who has just about 35 to 40 minutes, and one who is interested and curious about what human trafficking looks like in Jamaica and how it manifests in different circumstances. And so once you go on to your computer and you type in onrtip.gov.jm in your search bar or in your browser, it will take you to the course. Now, what's very important as well is that we have a little overview. So it's an introductory overview that gives you bite-sized, relatable pieces of information as to what you're about to get into. And then the course is divided into 3 modules. And at the end of each module, there is a self-test, which if you don't pass, you can't go on to the next module. So we want to ensure that you are absorbing and you are self-testing and you are excelling. Now, very interestingly is when the team said to me, Mrs. Harrison, what should the pass mark be for this course for people to get the certificate? I said it can't be anything less than 80%, because we want persons to be confident once they get that certificate that it is not any, mediocre certificate that they barely scrape through with a 60 or a 65, but we're talking about high-class qualification. And so I want to assure you that once you delve in, absorb, and move on, and you're certified, it's certification that can be respected. Now, where do we want this to go? We have many stakeholders in the room. And what we want to see over time is new recruits to the hotel industry, taxi associations, NGOs who work in certain fields, police officers, correctional officers, health workers who are in the field, justice stakeholders, education stakeholders, Ministry of Labor. I mean, with those overseas programs, those summer internships, we want to see critical stakeholders being exposed to the tool, and this becomes a part of their assessment in terms of their own self-investment in capacity building. So that's a vision that we have, and we will speak to the relevant partners to see how we can make that happen. But for today, with the assistance of Terry Carell, we're going to divide the room into Team A and Team B, kind of like Family Feud. And then we're going to have a representative from Team A simultaneously coming with a rep from Team B.
And I just want to say that Team A already wins.
Team B, that's a challenge, right? So we're going to invite you to come. The computers are queued and they're ready. They'll take you to the course, and the course and what is happening on the computer will be projected on either of the screens so that everyone can participate. Yes, Joy?
Thank you so much. An observation. You just mentioned where we want information to go to.
Yes.
But I don't see anything that says where the person is registering from. Can we put a tab that says health, tourism, whatever it is?
Yes.
You just state your name.
You mean in terms of the registration outside?
No, on the platform here.
Oh, okay, okay, yes.
So there's nothing there that says
what sector
who the person is. But I think it would be very important for us to track that.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
is it a student from UAE? Is it an NGO? All the things you've just said.
Right.
So we'll actually know what our reach is.
Yes,
So if we
yes,
can
absolutely.
put a tab on it, that would be really cool.
Yes, and that's something that we will certainly take on board. We actually just got administrator rights, I think, on Wednesday. So we will incorporate that so we can track that in the meta-analysis. Thank you so much, Joy. And this is why, ladies and gentlemen, collaboration, discussion, and the exchanging of ideas is so good. Thank you. All right, so Terry, take it away, and let's see what the screens spit up as we delve in together.
Okay, thank you so very much. Now, I know earlier I said that Team A wins because I'm standing up over there, but I just want you to know that I'm a neutral party. I want you to know that I have no favorites, although I am seated in proximity to Team A. So I realize that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, I think we have 9 tables, and if my math serves me correctly, if we're dividing it into a half, that should leave you with a fraction of a table being used. And so what we're going to do is 1, 2, 3, 4 will be Team A, and then Joy's table on this side will be Team B, okay? Everybody's fine? The rules of the game is that if I call on you, you just have to come. You're off to OFTO, come. Rule number 2, this is a safe space. We're not gonna call you dunce if it don't work out for you. This is not school challenge quiz, where if you do the wrong thing, your team members are gonna look at you and say, well, you just do. We are all learning this for the very first time. You do not have to be digitally savvy or a native digital citizen to participate. We will not be grading you today. So you don't have to worry about the pass mark, which is, okay? Are we ready? Who said no a while ago? Who said no a while ago? And by the way, the last thing is you can't leave the room all of a sudden to go use a bathroom or to go to the cafe or to take a call. Because I know how we say, all of a sudden everybody just gets very busy. Oh, I think I'm getting a call. You're not getting a call. You're supposed to be here until I think at least 11:30 or 12 o'clock. But honestly, we don't want us to overthink it, really and truly. This is just a fun, interactive activity. So I think to start out, I'm going to ask Acting DPP and Pro Vice Chancellor. They look so enthusiastic. We have Team A, we have Team B, and you're gonna go across to the computers, and I think we have team assistants. So we're gonna make them get very comfortable. Yeah, man, you need to cheer your team on, and I don't understand what kind of, Team A, what kind of pion. Look how Team A, by the way, I think just based on getting to the device, just for readiness, I feel like Team A already have a 1 point.
My project officer, senior project officer comes with me as well. We come as a pair.
No, you know, if I were Team A, I would say, look at how Team B need extra backative to do the work of the one person from Team A over here. I don't know if we're keeping count or if we're just gonna keep it fun. This is what we're looking at. So they're already on the page. They're so kind. I was actually going to tell them to give them a blank screen and the first person who could get the website going. Can you close that out? Can you close it out? No, can you close this out? Can we just go back to a zero screen? Where you got to acting DPP, where you going to the registration already? No, I want a zero page, almost like you go on Google. We're on Google. We're on Google. We're on Google. So let's come out of there. Watch out, the hour done already. Yeah, you're browsing as a guest? Yes. All right, so we're fine here, okay? So this one looks so pretty, and Team A, you're not beautiful. Okay, Team A says we're not about the fluff, we're not about the aesthetics, we're about the function. So the reason why I wanted to start here is we can't go to registration and course and all of this without knowing what you're typing in. Team assistants, no, it's our competitor. Type in the website. First person to type in the website gets a point. Slow and easy does it, you know. I walk on. A little more oil in my lamp, keep it burning. So I'm going to guess that the reason why Team A is because of the internet. No, but at the same internet over here. So let me go again. It is the device. It is technical difficulties with the actual tool. In fact, I might have to go and check with legal to ensure that the terms are fair. So we're going to give Team... You know, you're Team B, you know, Minister, you know, you're Team B. Hear the Minister, Team A, and I'm like, oh yeah, sure. So now that we're in, because this is very important, we're on the website. Now, let's register. First person to register efficiently. Remember, we're not judging you if you don't get it right. We might judge you in our minds, but we won't judge and make you know. So this is to give you an idea of what this process looks like. And it was made to be simple so that anyone would be able to understand it and for it to be user-friendly. And we do take the point that Joy offered. Yes, well, got you. Wait. Prova is going on. Bad boy. Tick, 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 tick. Who already has a point? Team A or Team B? Team B. Your password should match each other. And if you're anything like me, you don't remember the password for anything. So this is how we would register. And this is simply so that we're able to track, to measure, so that we're always able to improve whatever we are doing in the first... Ah! Sorry, I can't be so excited. Was I excited a while ago? We are in. That was pretty close. Thank you so very much to our ladies because they've gotten the ball rolling. So we're going to invite them to take a seat because now they're going to tag and touch somebody else. In fact, ladies, you can touch a gentleman because the men not going to get away. Just touch any man, and just tell them, tag, you are it. All right, so here we're gonna do now, we are now on the dashboard. The first jet, don't click on anything yet, you know. Ready? We are now going to click on course very quickly. All right? Heightening awareness to combat human trafficking. All right? So now we're going to scroll down and enroll now. Quick, the first person who, wait, Jesus, Team B just go on with themselves. I'm just enough like salt. Scroll all the way down, because what you want to do is you want to enroll. Team B was in first? I never noticed. Team A wasn't in. I think the computer, is he still scrolling to find the enroll now? Remember, this is a safe space, and we listen, we don't judge. So this is what your course page and your progress will look like. And remember what Mrs. Gordon Harrison said earlier is that you can't just rush through and then just keep pushing. You have to watch it, interact with it, and then you actually have to do the exam. So let us go to start learning. So I guess Team B got another point because they got in first. Is that what we're doing? Not that we're keeping track or anything. All right, so gentlemen, this is where it starts. I want you to scroll down and read the blurb that is right underneath it. Help out your team now.
Welcome to the Heightening Awareness to Combat Human Trafficking Course. Please complete all of the modules by clicking on each lesson. Once all are completed, you may attempt the final quiz. The estimated time required to complete the course is 45 minutes. After completing each lesson, select the complete button to move forward. If you need help, please select the help option.
All right, so we're gonna start. Wanna get ready?
We're ready.
It's gonna be a tag right now. Like, this is where it's gonna get fast. Okay, let's go, let's scroll up.
I can help them, right?
To move from here. All right. So to move from this page, we're going to scroll up just a bit on your side. And it's the mark as complete. So you can't move from this page until you click that mark as complete.
Him a look at me in my face, you know. So you're gonna scroll all the way up and you're gonna see mark. And this is important for us to do this because we actually want to show you what could go right and what could go not as right. So we've read this. So we now head up, right in the corner there, mark as complete. If you do not mark as complete, then it means that it will just not move to the next page. So you got the welcome, you got the overview. So now we should be looking at objectives and introduction. Yes? There are what kind of tag team going on? You have to read your objectives, you have to read your introduction, mark as complete. For those of us who've done courses before, every piece of information is something that they can ask you at the end of the course. So this is going to give you stats and facts, and you have to read it. Don't take anything for granted.
Can we carry notes?
So we're doing module 1. That me I said to you, really. So we're going through module 1. This is the, these are the, hold on. A note here, do. This is the module. Remember, you still have to read. Are we tagging? Are we pushing the man out of the Lord Jesus? Well, this is, this is national security. I am not getting involved in the Ministry of Gender and Culture and things over there. So we are doing it. You have to read your objectives, read your introduction, look at what it is the course is teaching you. For those of you who are on your devices, you might want to do the module as well, or you might want to pay attention because when the quiz comes, they might be able to phone a friend. They might be able to ask their team to assist them, and you guys need... All right, so if you're going to take notes, look at your numbers, because chances are at the end of this module, you're going to get a quiz. And the person who is representing might be able to ask you for assistance. So I see the teams making notes. The teams are making notes. Again, the reason why this is important is because when it comes to the quiz, you will be able to shout out your answers to your team member. Human trafficking is happening in Jamaica every day. That was number 4. All right, there's a strategy. I see Team B over here. Joy, pay attention to your team over here. He has issues actually seeing, and so she's assisting him because he's supposed to get new prescriptive glasses and he has not been able to get there. The new year just started, places have been closed, and so that is why she's assisting him. Why may I try them kind of dark? So we're looking at the numbers, look at the words. I see some team members taking photos because they're trying to at least have it as a point of reference. For those of us, some of us know this information already, but you don't know what the question, or maybe you're not familiar with the stats and the numbers. This team is heading across, reading it. Team, make sure you take your notes, because after that we need a collective assistance to get the right answer. To pass, we need 80%. The screen is blurry. Can you see down here? So you can actually hover. So this is actually saying hover for examples.
Okay, just for my team, you want to just hear some important information here? Human trafficking is a serious and brutal crime in which people are treated as commodities and exploited for criminal gain. Modern slavery, otherwise termed as human trafficking, is an international problem. The Walk Free Foundation estimates that there are 35.8 million people in slavery today around the world. Human trafficking is happening in Jamaica today. The Walk Free Foundation estimates that there are 5,800 victims of modern slavery currently in Jamaica. Victims from anywhere in the world may have entered Jamaica legally or illegally using a variety of methods. Victims may also be Jamaican nationals living in Jamaica. Young children, teenagers, women, and men all feature as victims. All right, I need to go back up. Oh, it's here. It's there. Complete.
And by the way, if you want to huddle, if you want to come up here, you are fine. Like if you want to come and see the screens, you guys can come, you can sit down, you can interact with each other. You don't have to stay in your seats. I don't think Mrs. Gordon Harrison is eligible to be on the team to participate. She's definitely not. And any other member who put this together, not eligible. What is the pass mark, ladies and gentlemen? And if you don't get through, if you fail, no, let me not say the term fail. If you don't pass, Mrs. Gordon Harrison, if you don't pass, you have to start over in your own time. Okay. We don't have to worry about that. We know that we're gonna pass. The main differences between human trafficking and human smuggling, those are two different things. Do you know the difference? Make sure that when we get to the question or the quiz section, that you are able to assist your team members to shout out the answers.
Okay, may I give you some information now? What is human trafficking? According to the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, 2017, human trafficking is defined as the recruitment, transportation, harboring of receipts of persons by means of threat or use of force or other forms of coercion,
the differences.
Of abduction, of fraud, of deception, of the abuse of power, of or of a position of vulnerability, or of the giving or receiving of payments of benefits to achieve the consent of a person having control over another person for the purpose of exploitation.
We're gone next. Oh, yeah, sit to me. Oh, what is... Right, you went through this. We remembered, we took did you take your notes? Okay. What is your role in combating human trafficking? So if you look at the first module, you'll realize that they're tackling the question of what is human trafficking? What's the difference between human trafficking and human smuggling? Gave us some stats, right? Please pay attention to those stats. Now, what is your role? We want to know. Try and look for the very pertinent information that you think is what they're gonna ask. See some people taking photos because they want to use it as a point of reference. Team A looks like they're huddling like school challenge quiz. Team B, they're working their work. Joy, you taking your notes? This is a mix between speed reading. Now we're going to see the people who swat for their exams the day before. This is the profile. What was the topic? This is profile of a Jamaican recruiter. It's important for us to know what those people look like, yes?
Club owners, opportunists, those with an educational opportunity.
We're almost coming down to the Module 1 quiz. I hope you guys get ready. We didn't bring any buzzers, but it's going to be based on who raises their hands first, just to make sure that we don't have shouting taking place across the room. But we're giving you a great idea of what this module looks like. Also giving you interesting information, 2007 Jamaica adopted its own legislation to address the issue of human trafficking.
So it's a 2007 Act. It was amended 3 times. Okay, all right.
She's like, I got you. She's like, I got you. So remember, you're going to do it in your own time. Naturally, you may not do it at this speed. We're just kind of doing this so that everyone can get an idea. But we really do want you to flesh out the information for yourself. And make notes. Actually write them down in a tangible manner.
Are we ready? Yes.
Wait, on the reach quiz part? Okay. We know the competitive people. All right, so Team A says that they are ready. All right, go. What are the 3 elements of human trafficking? All right, submit. The means is not required. It's the same quiz, but we... Yeah, man. No. Ready? Go.
Total marks. 3.
They got a few today. Now that you have the answers, you plan to use them when? Remember, I'm a neutral party here. I am not on Team A or Team B. So Bad mind is not a good look. Can we kindly give Team A a round of applause? I don't understand. But, oh, I'm so sorry, Joy. Team A, we are going to in the spirit of good sportsmanship. And Team B, over to you.
Are you all there? All right, okay.
Aww, you made it. You made it. A round of applause for all of our participants. But even though this is done in a very fun and interactive way, we really just want to give you an idea of what it looks like. It doesn't make any sense that we have all of this information for ourselves as stakeholders. But even though you only got 3 questions, maybe you anticipated more. Maybe there are more questions for different modules, but you would have taken it very seriously and you would have started reading this information on a much deeper level, not knowing how many questions or what type of questions. This could be done just like how we're doing it now, you know. Not to rush because we don't want people to rush. But it can be done in a manner that people are learning, but it is done in a manner that is fun and interactive. And so it's something that we recommend that you do for family or with friends, people who you think might know better and they actually don't. You have a question, well, there we go.
So we have persons who are differently abled. So I'm wondering if consideration will be given. So I'm thinking about School for the Blind, for example. Will we have a way where they can actually hear the information? Well, there are videos, but hear the questions, so accessibility for persons who are differently abled. 2, we have an increasing number of migrants coming into Jamaica, some of whom English is not their first language. So is there also an option where we could even probably have Spanish translation, Chinese translation, so we make it accessible to multiple persons then?
Very good question. Thank you so very much. I actually love the fact that you included the community, simply because they most times, are some of the most vulnerable. Do we have an answer?
Yes. So you might recall my comment said that we're on a journey, yeah? And to get to the destination, we have to take several steps. So this is but the first step in that journey. Well, the second step. The first step was the USB, and then we decided greater access. So we are, in fact, very much open to what you have said because inclusion is important. And as you said, Terry, many times it's persons who have disabilities that are targeted because they're more vulnerable. So these are costly suggestions, but suggestions that we're open to and will continue to build and take them on board as the journey continues. So thank you, Antoinette.
Fantastic. Any questions? Because this really is feedback. Without feedback, we can't serve. I mean, we know that as team members, we try to cover all bases, but sometimes when you have your perspective, you can help us to see little areas that may have been overlooked. Joy already asked us about capturing data, really, and that data could be not only who they are, but maybe where they're from. They may not necessarily be in Jamaica, but they might be registering outside. What country are you registering? That could also be something. I have a question in the back.
Good morning, everyone.
Hello,
I am just asking if this initiative will be going to... Okay. I'm just asking if this initiative will be going in the schools. We know that a lot of our school students are vulnerable to this kind of to human trafficking. So I really would recommend that we partner with the Ministry of Education to teach or do the seminars or the courses to schools so that to have our students out there aware of human trafficking.
Thank you so very much. So that is a recommendation, and I believe we could even try to get them at the PTAs. So at the parent teachers, that's the only time you see a whole bag of parents come out, just like how they walk us through RenWeb and they walk us through the different things. We could actually probably introduce it at a time when most of your school administration is there and also parents.
All right, good morning, everybody. As a survivor of human trafficking, I really do appreciate this. I do appreciate the effort. I was going to ask the question that you asked about, taking it into the schools. So as a teacher, at the kindergarten level, it is something that I would want to see. Also, at the community level, because when I do go out and talk about human trafficking with the ladies, especially those who are sex workers, they don't understand that they are a big part of the human trafficking community. And so I would want to see it extend to civil societies, community groups, and so on, so that these persons can be aware.
For the developers, we didn't get to this section that said, how can we help? Or how can you help? Is this for the person who did the quiz to say how they can show up to be a part of it? Or is there a piece that says, if I did it and I recognize that I am vulnerable or I have been trafficked and my light bulb went off, is there anything in this that says where I can go to? Do we have that there?
So it's generally on our website, so it directs you back to us.
Send you back. Okay,
right,
thank you. Well, the reason why I ask is that most times persons don't zero in it there because you have a section that says, how can I help? That's when the human mind kicks in. So they don't remember. So at that point is where the person is going to say, okay, this is a help thing. It's no longer a course, So strategically, if we need to probably send back a link there, it will be useful. It's just how people learn, And I think my last thing, the quiz at the end is a different quiz from the module quiz. And that quiz is what? The last quiz?
It just puts everything together.
Okay.
And that's what leads you to the certificate.
So that is the certificate quiz. All right, cool. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ladies, you now have the floor.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Sorry to be late. Caroline Temple Anderson from Ministry of Health and Wellness. Following up with Joy's question. So accessibility is important in terms of linkages. And so I am asking, is it possible that when you see the help part, so if the last slide says if you need help or options, because if the options have beside it, volunteer, whatever it is, then when you click it, it sends you maybe to an email where you can actually say, I have just completed this and this is what I think is happening with me. I understand coming out and going to the website, but in terms of learning and access, it is critical that right there, I should either be able to say, yes, I need help. When I click, I go directly to an email where I can write and say, this is what I need, and somebody will be there. That's one option. The other option that we find with online is the AI chat. Again, costly, but useful. Because if right there, while I am doing the quiz, things could be happening to me at the same time emotionally, and I'm going through something, and I don't want to complete this, I just need to talk almost like immediately, or to refer, share. So almost immediately, if you could add a chat AI where I can say, ask the questions, and they download and they start talking, and then it can continue. So with the chat, you can start, you have the You know what I mean? The menu type ones, but in every one of them, they also say, I can't help you, I can link you to somebody, or to an email, and then they'll get it. That type of access is critical, knowing the situation that we're in. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. So we had a question earlier about accessibility, but naturally this is now immediacy. How do we get that person to not complete a quiz to then go somewhere, but how can they get help right then and there? And I know the chatbot is definitely something that's a part of the journey. I don't know if you came in when that was answered. So definitely a part of the journey, but definitely.
I am from Indicom. At time to times we have person that called Indicom not knowing the respective things that we oversight, but we have to be directing them based to other agency. But what if that person is calling on behalf of another person but doesn't want to disclose all of that? What can other entities do to assist that person? We refer them, but you have person that call back to say we're calling the numbers, not getting them, and they have reached a limit. So what can we do to assist further without have to giving them maybe a number or an email that must be answered right away?
And this is a real issue. The centralization, first of all, where everyone knows who to call specifically, needs to be figured out. There needs to be awareness because nobody knows anything. I'm going to call Mocha if I feel like call Mocha and I don't know what Mocha do, but I see Mocha on TV and I hear Mocha, so I call him Mocha and don't realize I need to be calling Sissoko. They sound the same. Sissoko, Mocha. This is literally what happens. So there's a decentralization, there's a lack of awareness, and then even when you do refer, you just have to hope that that entity has labor, workforce, human capital available to answer. So I think that definitely is a national government question that you're answering, because even if we were to give all of the information and the accessibility via this course, they still are not going to have to call this entity that we hope will be there. So that is not necessarily our ONRTIP responsibility, but that is something that has to be addressed, I think, nationally. And the views of Terry Carell are not necessarily those of Mrs. Gordon Harrison or ONRTIP.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ashanti Lawson, journalist from Sun City 104.9 FM. May I please ask 2 questions? Okay. In terms of social media, how do you plan to advertise this course?
We are on YouTube, we're on Instagram, and we are on X and Facebook as well, and we have posts that we do routinely on a weekly basis. And so the course, now that it is launched, will form a part of the material that is put out on our social media platforms for engagement.
Okay, thank you for that answer. And in regards to inclusion and accessibility, I have another question here for you. How do you plan to ensure that this course doesn't exclude like key demographics, you know, persons who aren't as, we would say, digitally literate? Is there a backup plan, you know, if these groups are left out?
Absolutely. So this is what I would call buttressing what we already do. So we are in schools, we are in community centers, we're at community fairs, we're at the diaspora conference, we're on the street corner, and we do public education and live engagement with communities who don't even own computers, who have no interest in self-learning, so they wouldn't be going to take this course in any event. And so this is not a silver bullet. It is just another tool in the arsenal that will help us to reach different stakeholders where they're at. So I want to encourage that we don't see this as a fix-it-all and that everybody will do this course. That will never happen. But we will use it as one of the means through which to reach persons who are so minded. And we will not abandon the other strategies that we will continue to use.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sandra Krista Brown. Finding Your Light Foundation, a part of the Caribbean Coalition of Human Trafficking. First of all, thank you, Ms. Gardner Harrison and team. This is a great, great achievement for Jamaica and for the Caribbean. So I want to just give them a round of applause for the great work. I know it wasn't easy. We took steps. We had meetings to get to here. It was a lot of hard work put into it. However, my recommendation is our new employees' orientations for the hotels. I see this being something essential due to the fact that human trafficking, traveling the Caribbean and the world, most persons who are being trafficked is through hotels. That's a hot spot. We know the massage parlor and different places, but hotels are a hot spot. So for a part of the new employee orientation and training for these employees to be able to identify when they see it and to report it to the appropriate authority would be so important. It would be essential to help us to bring our numbers down. Secondly, our schools, as someone mentioned about our schools and being a stakeholder here in Jamaica, although living in the US, and doing work with the schools here in the urban area and roundabout, this would be so essential, first of all, for our teachers to understand it, and then, as in Florida with the human trafficking education, and someone had mentioned about teaching at kindergarten, would have to have it at a level where the kindergarten students can understand, and the languages to be revamped at that level so they can understand and they can get something out of it and go on to our primary schools and even at our college level. Right now at our college level, I see this course right now should be at UTech, UWI, Mona, and a part of their curriculum would be really essential and would really help us to eradicate human trafficking. Thank you so much.
Hi, morning everyone. I'm Kamisha Gordon, Detective Inspector, Sub-Officer in charge of the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Vice Squad, based at CTOC, that is the Counterterrorism and Organized Crime Investigations Branch. Just to clarify and to guide, if there are anyone calling saying that they are victims and they need help, call us. I'll give you the number. So the numbers were listed, and it mentioned CPFSA, it mentioned ONRTIP, it mentioned us, and that's one good thing about this course, is that it gives options dependent on what the situation may be. So the person may not want to talk to the police, but they may want to talk to somebody who can help them with the psychological aspect of things, and it does that. So if you're having that issue at your job, please ensure that you make contact with us, and if you want, I'll give you the number now or later. As it relates to the course, I am very pleased with this effort. We, Detective Sergeant Strawn and I, we have been working on the TIP unit for years, and we have been going out all over the country into schools and different groups, meeting with them to do sensitizations, and I think that this will make the job easier. And certainly with all the different suggestions that are being made, it will enhance what is offered, and it will make it so much greater. And I must applaud ONRTIP. They have always been at it, and I'm very, very happy about this. Thank you.
Beautiful. I'm going to probably the last comment, because this really was feedback, questions, answers. We appreciate everything that you have shared, and I just probably want to take the opportunity to remind you, if after you leave and other things come to mind, things that maybe did not occur to you while you were in the room, just contact the office, and so that they can always collate all of this information as they go along improving on their journey. Joy?
Thanks. I'm very much a stickler for capturing what we're doing, Diane. And the monitoring of it, we don't want to lose the gains. So, as we look to how we can have people on the platform say who they are, I think one of the things that we could look at also is agencies. Agencies
making a commitment, especially the agencies that are interfacing with the services, all their staff should have done the course. You know, and so if we can find a way to incentivize that, because I mean, as an organization, we have so many things that we have as protocols. So all my staff know if I have to go to the PSCA, I have to do it. This is something that all my staff will do as a part of their commitment to the service that we're doing. So that's one of the ways that we can look for all the entities who are providing services to make sure even the security guard at the front do it. And then you know, so okay, this place have 10 people, 10 of them have been certified, but then you need to have that information. And it could be one of the ways that we say, okay, entity X is listed somewhere as a partner, you know, and whatever it will take to have people have ownership of it. If it's the university, if it's the gender department, if it's 20 staff, how many of them were registered this year, kind of thing. Because I think it's also very important to have some kind of, even though people have autonomy, I think this is an industry that needs credibility. Because we don't want a situation where we still have people providing services uninformed. Now that we have given a tool, let us see how we can have some accountability and some validation of people who are responding. You know, so if you have a little community shop who say, boy, we do a thing and we go to a course. Now we have a course that is certified. So we say, okay, Ms. Jane, you've been responding in X community. We have a course now, we want to legalize your kind of thing. Do the course, and you know, because I think it's important to also be able to weed out the scammers who are in the industry, who are traffickers themselves, who say that they have information, because they know enough, you know. And it's the information that they use to go in the spaces. So this is one tool that your office could use to say, did your team do this? You know, I'm just thinking about the bigger piece of how we continue to protect even the industry that we know that perpetrators get involved in. That's a thought.
Thank you so very much, and I do agree. Unfortunately, incentives always will work. And we've seen it in the spaces, and I'm sure NGOs, you guys know, that sometimes companies come on board and they give checks, not because they want to, but because their competitor gave a check. So now they want to give a check. And because they want to see their names and their organizations in lights as well. And we do have to think about that as well. A lot of them, if they start to see other people certified, and these people are being lauded, then they're going to start asking, how come this person is there and we are not there? And if that causes competition for them, it's a win-win. They get their PR, but they had to get it going through the process. And so I understand that, and we've seen it done many, many times. With that said, which was a great way to close off this segment, I thought the feedback, the question and answer segment was extremely insightful as well as instructive. Again, if there's anything that comes to mind afterwards, send us an email, call and say, hey, I have an idea. Thank you so very much to all of you who are in here. I think the only recommendation I have personally, Mrs. Gordon Harrison and team, the only recommendation I have is this is from a branding perspective. So whenever it becomes, when we're not accustomed or familiar to a brand, it becomes very hard to go to websites and it's just like ONRTIP. So I realized that when we were going to the website or when I saw it on the paper, I was like, wow, okay, onrtip.gov.jm. And so we went on the domain while we were sitting down there. I went on on Namecheap to see if anti-human trafficking JA was available. It was. Anti-human trafficking JM was available. The reason why I'm saying this is I could have buy the domain, but we never do it because, you know. But what I'm bringing to your attention is a lot of the times people are going to search and use terms that we know. ONRTIP or ONRTIP it's a national official institution. It's an entity that many of us outside of the stakeholders don't know. But I do know human trafficking. I do know the term anti-human human trafficking, what I would recommend or what I would do if I were on the team is I would buy that domain because it's like $10 a year. I would buy the domain anti-human trafficking JM, and when people type it in, it's going to direct them straight to the ONRTIP. But that's not my business. I don't care where it directs me, but I think a lot of the times we have the best interests, we have the best intentions, and we want it to be a part of our entities because that's the credibility. But from a relatability standpoint, it may not always be the best. So my only suggestion is that we somehow find a domain where it makes it super easy. Anti-human trafficking JM. It tells you exactly what it is, and it's an easy redirect. I don't have to go anywhere, but it sits right there. So that's my that's my only recommendation. Has this been insightful? Has this been instructive? On behalf of everybody in the room, the hardworking staff of ONRTIP, congratulations. We know that this was not done overnight. We know this took a lot of go back, try again, come back, and it's still going to be beta tested. This is going to be constant beta testing, but we believe you have to start. Complaining and whining and just don't have a solution is just not going to create change. So on behalf of ONRTIP, thank you for coming and spending your time. You don't have to run off. We actually have lunch. We want to feed you. We bring you here so early. As you are eating, you're mixing, you're mingling, find out how you can also partner with each other to strengthen and galvanize the mission. I am Terry Carell. It has been a pleasure, as always, serving you in the capacity of host. Happy New Year and all the best. Take care.